morning, Mets fans! Welcome to a Thursday edition of Driving with Mr. Met. I am Mr. Met, and for the third straight game, the New York Mets took a lead into the late innings, only to have the bullpen take a gander, screw it up again. Last night, it was Seth Lugo who was the culprit. Everyone seeming to get involved in this mutual sucking that this team is doing right now as far as their bullpen goes. The Mets have dropped 3 straight now to the Phillies, all 3 of which should have been victories, with a competent bullpen, which, as we all know, the Mets do not have. Now dropped to 7 games under 500, and boy, if there was ever a time when Zach Wheeler needed to pitch a complete game, it's this afternoon. We'll talk about that on today's show. Last night, the Mets relied on Jason Vargas to right the ship, and for 6 innings, he did just that, Vargas. And then after 77 pitches, after a couple of hard-hit balls, Mickey Callaway pulls him from the game, brings in Seth Lugo, and we know what happens. So here's my problem with what happened last night, and explicitly with what Mickey decided to do from one night to the next. So the previous night, the Mets had Walker Lockett pitching. It was his second start of the season. He was pitching well, right? And Mickey decides to push him into the next inning. I think it was the top of the 6th that he came out. I think he pitched 5 1/3. Maybe I'm wrong. Could be 6 1/3. It doesn't matter. But they decided to push him, right? He's a rookie. They decided to push him, and it backfired, right? And I can understand the logic there, right? The logic there is our bullpen is so horrendously bad that we cannot allow it to come into this game too soon. So I get that. I totally get the idea of pushing a starting pitcher because the bullpen is so awful. Walker Lockett stays in the game, gives up the leadoff walk. We know what happens. The Mets end up losing a 5-run inning. Last night, Jason Vargas, who at 77 pitches, they decided, you know what? Even though you've been pitching probably as well as anybody else on the staff for the last month and a half, we're getting you out of this game. We're not going to push you, not one bit. We're going to get you out of the game. We're going to get you out of the game feeling good, whatever that nonsense always is. And what ends up happening, right? They pull him early. They bring in Seth Lugo. Lugo does his part to join the suck squad that is the Mets bullpen, and tie game turns into a late inning, extra inning win. I don't get the logic, Mickey. I don't get the logic. Pick a side and stick to it. It's as though he's never seen this bullpen before. You know, he's like, oh, I'll go to the bullpen. It'll be fine. Like, hello? What games have you been watching for the last couple of weeks? I'll tell you which ones I've been watching are the ones where the bullpen is horrendous. And I posed the question last night, pretty early actually, about the bullpen blowing the lead, which of course they did. It's almost like a foregone conclusion now at this point. Like, Mets get an early lead, should have a win with a competent bullpen. Bullpen is incompetent, blows the lead, blows the game, end of story. Rinse and repeat. Happens the next day exactly the same way. But I posed the question, I've never seen a bullpen this bad. And I'm thinking back like to 2008 down the stretch run where, you know, I think I said it yesterday, they were awful. And that 2008 bullpen was horrendous. But are there others? Am I missing others? Am I just like revisionist historying this awful bullpen right now and saying there was never anything this bad before? I honestly don't remember. I can't remember being this upset about a bullpen every day and legitimately getting to that point in the game where it hits the 7th inning and honestly wanting to turn it off so that I didn't have to watch the bullpen blow it again. And I can't think of a time when day in and day out I have that exact same feeling. I guess early we could say like Vargas Day was that, you know, especially last year when he was just so bad in the first half. You could say, let's not even watch the game because they're going to lose. This is worse, honestly. This is absolutely worse because they should win these games. They should be winning these games. They're not winning these games because the bullpen sucks. I feel like a broken record. I'm saying the same thing every day. But I can't hang a goat on Mickey Callaway for last night because he did go to his best reliever, and his best reliever didn't get the job done. So I had a couple of overreactions on Twitter last night myself, where I said, fire him, that's it, I'm done. I disagree with pulling Jason Vargas, but the logic is sound when you think about it. This is our best reliever, he has to get the job done. Say nothing about the fact that he probably should have pushed Vargas a little bit further. I would honestly feel a lot better about Mickey Callaway's post-game interviews if I didn't have to hear him say, boy, we're real close to having everybody get on the same page and bust out together. Right. I'd feel a lot better if he would say, you know what, I decided to stick with Vargas. He was pitching well. And you guys have seen the bullpen. They're awful. I mean, they're just awful. I can't go to them. What's wrong with being honest? I mean, like, the guys don't know that they're terrible right now. They know they're terrible. Believe me. They absolutely know that they are awful. and it is contagious. It is a contagious thing where you know, one guy sucks. Next guy's like, oh, my beer, I'm going to suck worse. Next guy's like, oh, I'll show you. I can do one better. 5 runs in an inning. So I can't completely fault Mickey Callaway here because he doesn't have the weapons at his disposal. And I had this same exact argument in favor of Terry Collins, and I can't be a hypocrite about it. I cannot completely blame everything on Mickey Callaway when he just doesn't have the ammunition to put into his gun and fire the right shots. You know, it's everything he does is backfiring right now. It is what it is. This team should legitimately be 13 games over 500. They have the offense to do it. Their starting pitching is coming around, and they're not, because the bullpen is costing them an unbelievably bad rate. So that was last night. So the Mets have dropped the first 3 games to the Phillies, who honestly have to be really thankful for the Mets. You know, the Phillies season was in a free fall before New York came into town, and they had lost 7 straight games, just got done getting swept by the Marlins, and the Mets were in a position to really put a hurting on the Phillies season, really kick them while they're down. And as they typically tend to do, instead of kicking them while they were down, the Mets put their hand down and said, let us help you up. That's what they did. I honestly cannot see how the Phillies don't sweep this series now at this point. I feel like there is so little fight and life left in this Mets team right now. And how could there not be? You know, these guys are pros and they get paid to do this, of course. But man, how disheartening must it be for the whole team to have to endure these losses every single day? I don't know how you come out and drag yourself out of bed knowing that you're going to come into work and your team's going to lose. I guess, you know, you do your part, like Jeff McNeil. I mean, Jeff McNeil, once again, all-star case made last night. He better be on the all-star team. He better be on the all-star team. That's all I'm saying. He's now second in the National League in batting, by the way, just behind Cody Bellinger. So, you know, we're going to have these small things to look forward to if the team continues to suck like this, where we're going to be able to watch Pete Alonso. We're going to be able to watch Jeff McNeil. I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. I knew it. I called it. So anyway, we're going to be able to do these little things that'll keep us sort of tuned into the season, because we want to see where Jeff McNeil finishes in batting race. I feel like he can win the batting title. Bellinger, of course, is off to an unbelievably hot start and hasn't let up at all. But he's the kind of hitter, rather, that is kind of an all or nothing type hitter, and he's just been getting all the time. Whereas McNeil is just an absolute slap hitter who you just can't get a strike past him. He can make contact with a ball in the strike zone, anywhere in the strike zone, and make contact solid and for hits. And that's why the 7 line, that's why Darren Meenan calls him Jeff McHits. And I like that. So we're going to have that to look forward to. We're going to have Pete Alonso to look forward to in his home run chase for the number 41 on the season. Speaking of 41, this afternoon, or this morning actually, the Mets are officially renaming 126th Street Seaver Way. So instead of their address being whatever it was, now it's going to be 41 Seaver Way, which is awesome. I think that's really cool. This weekend, of course, is the celebration of the 69 Mets, and I expect that there will be more Seaver-related goodies, hopefully in the form of a statue, because that's long overdue. I think we've been saying that for 10 years now. So, should have been part of Citi Field when it was erected in 2008 and opened in 2009, but whatever. So that'll do it for today. Oh, like I said, Zach Wheeler on the mound this afternoon in just a few short hours. Wheeler's got to pitch a complete game. That's the only way the Mets are going to win today. The only chance the Mets have of victory today is if Zach Wheeler does not relinquish the ball for 9 innings. That's it. That's it. So hopefully he's got he's gotten a good night's sleep and eaten his Wheaties this morning, because we're going to need him. Otherwise, it's a sweep for the Phillies. It's 8 games under for the Mets, and I feel like that's the death knell for the Mets. If they lose today, they're done. I really do feel like they're done. So let's see what happens. I'll be watching like an idiot. The good news for that is that the game will be over by like 4 o'clock, and we don't have to bother with it tonight. So, I mean, silver lining, I guess. You know, we're game over early, and we can enjoy our evening. Or wallow in the sorrow of a sweep, whatever. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. And follow me on Twitter at Mr_Met. And as always, let's go Mets.